Hi there, welcome to our Performance Edge Weekly Wisdom, where spirit drives performance. Coach Sol here. Today we are going to discuss about global wellness, global awareness, especially how to not miss the mark with appropriate wellness care that you need. And while we should celebrate that people are starting to take care of themselves, which was reflected recently by a Bloomberg article that wellness is a big global business with 5.6 trillion with a T in revenue in 2022, and it is predicted to reach 8.5 trillion by 2027. And unfortunately, as we'll see shortly in this video, mental wellness is lagging. Yes, mental wellness is lagging. So first in this video, we'll see the global wellness growth trend that was published by the Global Wellness Institute this week in the world. Second, we'll see how the US compare with the global trend. And third, we'll see the gap and the opportunity where the trend might be missing the mark on. And it's on mental wellness. So, and if people don't pay attention enough, and in this video, I want to make sure that you are aware of a real gap and a real opportunity. So we will see the current common wellness methodology guidelines suggested by the expert. And most importantly, I'm going to share with you today from an applied spirit, new lens that was understood from ancient and secular wisdom, which will give you a sustainable solution and formula to help you with your mental wellness initiatives. So by the end of this video today, not only will you understand the reason in the rise of mental health issues in a nation, but also the why in the limitation of common methodology that have been used. And even better, you will understand why applied spirit is an untapped approach to helping people improve psychological well-being, and why it is the best strategy that will help us improve mental wellness in the most sustainable manner. Ready? So yes, according to a new report and research from a non-profit Global Wellness Institute that was released this week, wellness is a big global business with 5.6 trillion in revenue in 2022, and is expected to grow an additional 57% to 8.5 trillion in 2027. So about twice as large as Germany gross domestic product, right? On the surface, it is great news to hear that people are starting to take care of themselves. And fortunately, I'm here to sound the alarm bell because of a disparity when it comes to where the money is spent, even when it comes to wellness, because the expenses are not spent proportionally in the right sector that will need it the most. Notably, the mental wellness sector is lagging, and I want to make sure that you are up to date and you get the right information so you can make the appropriate decision. Because in today's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, the VUCA world, the many demands in our lives have highlighted the challenges that are multi-level and more complex. So it has become clear, even from the World Health Organization, that the next health crisis is mental. In fact, 7 in 10 people globally report they are struggling mentally, and stress and worry and sadness reach record high in 2020, the Gallup 2021. Major depressive disorder and anxiety disorder increased 28% and 26% in 2022. Tens of millions more cases, according to the World Organization 2021. So with those facts, you would hope that mental health will be the leading sector in terms of growth projection, isn't it? But guess what? It's not. Why? So in this video, first we are going to see the global wellness rise trend, which is great. and then the trend in the United States. And then second, we'll see the common guidelines, solutions suggested by the expert. And third, I will share with you the opportunity and the gap, and I'll show you how Applied Spirit can help you, and that by developing spiritual intelligence, you can help improve your psychological and emotional well-being to have a sustainable well-being, to have a sustainable mental wellness solution, and not just a temporary short-term fix. So let's just get it moving. So when you look at this, the number, global wellness economy reaches record-breaking 5.6 trillion, and it's predicted to hit 8.5 trillion by 2027. And you can see the trend. So when you look at it, between 2019 and 2020, the wellness market shrank from 4.9 trillion US dollar to 4.4 trillion, which was 11%. Just from 2019 to 2020. So it has since grown 27% to reach a record-breaking 5.6 trillion US dollar in 2022, where 7 of 11 wellness sector now surpass the 2019 pre-pandemic values. So the Global Wellness Institute 2022 figures for the 11 sector are as follow, and it's an ascending order. It's personal care and beauty, about 1.08 trillion. Second, you got healthy eating, nutrition and weight loss. And then you got physical activity, and you got wellness tourism, and then you got public health prevention and personalized medicine, followed by traditional and complementary medicine, and then wellness real estate, and then mental wellness, and then you got spas, you got workplace wellness, and then thermal and then mineral springs. And when you look at that, the numbers show that the global revenue is predicted to hit 8.5 trillion by 2027. And as you can see on the trend, the graph there on the global perspective. And when you look at by sector, the growth, you can see here the number one growth sector that you will see is which sector. You can see the trend. That number one is wellness real estate, which is going to grow at 17.4%, followed at wellness tourism by 2027 at 16.6%. So those are the top two that you look at: wellness real estate growing 17.4% and wellness tourism 16.6%. That's the trend we're looking at 2027. Those are the two leading factors. So you might be saying, so what is the problem? What is the problem, Saul? Or what do you mean? Hold on. I'm saying just hold on, because this is global. And so what I'm saying, let's look at the US trend. Now, great, congratulations. So far, US is number one rank, or out of 218, or 1,215 billion, right? So when you look at the US numbers, it's really matching the global trend. So it's a great job here. So now we got to look at under the hood. Let's look at the 11 sectors. And the wellness economy sector in the United States from 2017 to 2020, as you can see here, the numbers. The number one is healthy eating, nutrition, and weight loss. In 2020, standing at 248, billion, right? And then you follow, and I want to zoom in on the mental wellness, which is number 7 at 66.6%, right? So you see that 60.6, 248, well put. So the global and US trend are similar, right? Now let's see the growth by sector. And this is where I really want us to be aware. So the projection by sector, that the research is proving that the wellness real estate is going to be the fastest growing by 2027 at 7.4%, followed by wellness touring at 16.6%, and then followed by thermal and mineral springs at 14.3%, and mental wellness is number 4 at 12.8%, and then you got spa at 8.3%. And you can look at the numbers or look at more resources down. But I want to stop here, just all the way to number 5, all the way to 8.3%. But why is that? Why is this relevant? Because the World Health Organization has shared that the next health crisis is mental. 7 in 10 people now are saying they are suffering mental issues. So that is a prediction that mental health is going to be the number 1 issue in a couple of years. So if you look at it, what I just shared earlier was that mental wellness is positioned as number 1 at number 7 with 66.6 billion, and that's a gap. Can you see that? That's a gap. If mental wellness is positioned number 7, right, at 60.6% in 2020, and the next health crisis is mental, confirmed by the World Health Organization, that 7 in 10 people are reporting they are struggling mentally, and that stress, worry, and sadness reached record high in 2020. That major depressive disorder and anxiety increased 28% and 26% in 2020. If mental health is supposed to be the number 1 crisis, why isn't that up front? And yes, you can look at the projected 12.8% growth, but why it's not the fastest growing? And that's why I want to sound the alarm bell, because yes, it's nice to see that globally the trend is growing, but why is that mental health, if that's going to be the number 1 problem, why is that not the number 1 growth category? So now let's dig on our current methodology, and that's where I really want to make sure people are paying attention, because global wellness has 11 sectors, the current methodology right now. And what are those 11 sectors? Personal care and beauty, healthy eating or nutrition and weight loss, physical activity, wellness tourism, public health, prevention and personal medicine, traditional and complementary medicine, wellness real estate, mental wellness, spas, workplace wellness, and finally the 11th is thermal or mineral springs. So those are the 11 sectors that are being tracked from global wellness. And if you look at the mental wellness market by sector, this is what's important to really be aware. And looking at this chart, you can see that in 2022, the senses, the space and sleep, the sense, right, were leading at 77.3 billion. And this will be probably, you can look at, sensor will be, the health product you have, right? Whether it's a watch that track your heart rate or anything like that. And the second is basically what the brain boosting nutraceutical and botanicals, right, which was at 60.7 billion. And then number 3 is self-improvement, which was at 38.3 billion. And then medication and mindfulness at 4.3 billion. So in 2022, the mental wellness market by subsector was about 180, right, as you can see. But I want to make sure that you see it, because this is the way it's being tracked. And what's important here is the modality that the experts are suggesting, which are acupressure, acupuncture, aromatherapy, art therapy, Ayurveda, balneotherapy, biofeedback, CAM for cancer, CBD, chiropractic, exercising, forest bathing, halotherapy, salt therapy, hydrotherapy, manual lymph drainage, massage, meditation, music therapy, nutritional counseling, optimism, Pilates, psilocybin, relaxation therapies. So those are the psychology and modality they're suggesting. If you look at all this, there is something I don't see. What I don't see is applied spirit. And if you wonder what is applied spirit, I'm going to jump into it a little bit further. But the quantum though help people develop applied spirit and spiritual intelligence. So that's relevant because despite all these modalities and the growth, the current results are clear that the next health crisis is going to be mental. And 7 in 10 people globally report that they are struggling mentally in stress. They're worried and have sadness. And sadness has reached record high in 2020 with major depressive disorder and anxiety. So the medical evidence for wellness approaches, right? Because people typically imagine that scientific evidence only sides with traditional medicine, for example, drugs or procedures. And certainly, far more clinical studies and fundings for them have been devoted to conventional clinical and pharmaceutical approaches. But medical professionals nowadays, they agree that there is hard evidence for many integrative alternative therapies and mind-body approaches. And so all informed providers agree that physical activities, healthy nutrition, sleep, self-reduction, stress reduction, and attitude changes have an enormous impact on health. So when you look at that, it's clear that the cost of a traditional healthcare system, which focuses only on curing diseases rather than prevention and helping people make lifestyle changes, has reached a tipping point for many people and for employers and government. And that's not sustainable. And so currently, even the global wellness approach is that the research shows that wellness is divided in 11 sectors. So with those approaches, we still see that the problem of mental health is rising. So we got to ask ourselves, why it's not working? What are limitations? Well, it's simple. Because the current solution are treating the symptoms. And when you think about it, the way they approach mental wellness, they are always looking at the problem. And if you look at it, they usually, why do people go to wellness? Because of three main reasons. They want to feel better, they want to do better. So that, looking at that solution is still looking at basically not at the surface, the symptoms. So that reveals the limited understanding of how human operates. And that's where the quantum though and applied spirit comes in, because it looks at root cause, which usually is ambiguous. But applied spirit, that's where is well known to treating the problems at the root cause, which will make it sustainable. And that answer is found, right, in understanding of how humans operate at the root cause. And that leads us into the next reason that we need to acknowledge. And it's about learning applied spirit. And that means it's about understanding what are the factors and driver for your life, right? And that second understanding is a failure to recognize that we are in a new world. We are in a new era. So when you think about it, what has changed is that we are living in a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, which means there is more demand and pressure imposed on us. So the many demands in our lives have highlighted the challenges that are multi-level and more complex. So there is a need of a new paradigm, and we have entered the era of Homo triple sapiens, because the old model of a Homo double sapiens, which was based on the Cartesian paradigm. I think, so I am. I think, so I am. that cognitive binary paradigm that thinks that it's either this or that, now is obsolete. It has reached its limit. It has reached its pinnacle. Its pinnacle. This paradigm has reached its pinnacle. I can think about what I was thinking about has reached its limit. And so the Homo triple sapiens, who knows that I know more than I know that I know, understand that there is a third knowing that our human species need to tap into. And that's where, from ancient traditions and wisdom that were used all the way even from ancient Egypt. So the Homo triple sapiens has that third knowing that our new humanity needs to tap into by saying, I know more than I know that I know. So if you wonder what is that, is you probably have heard about the IQ, right? The cognitive IQ, right? You probably have heard about emotional EQ as well, EQ. And the missing link is SQ, the spiritual intelligence. And so that's what we need to democratize, and that has yet to be done. And the time has come to immerse ourselves into applied spirit and teach everyone need to be equipped. And that is the basis of the quantum door I teach people with. So I don't have too much time to explain about the quantum door, but you can find out more about my website. But in a nutshell, the quantum door is a spirit elevation platform system that equips people to move from being rigid, from being stuck, from being self-absorbed, from being doubtful, from being frustrated, or from being overwhelmed, to being effectively in a flow, to being effectively in a confident and easy state of optimal performance. So with that understanding, that leads us to a new paradigm that the quantum door teaches, is that humans experience themselves in 5 dimensions. Yes, 5 dimensions, through 3 drivers. So the solution lies in understanding that new paradigm that was understood since ancient Egypt. And before we dive in there, I like to always emphasize that the understanding of a new paradigm is important. It's simply because of this. Nowadays, with all the new demand we have, what we have to process, there is a lot of data. So because of excessive volume of data we need to process every day, our brain does 3 things. Our brain delete, our brain distort, and our brain generalize. So in a way, the brain really creates a filter so that it's not overloaded, which makes us prone to illusions, right? So illusions, you can have good ones or bad ones. Regardless what it is at the basis of the emotional denial we have, or when we are avoiding the reality, or when you are escaping the reality, or when you're trying to bury your true emotions. That's what illusions do, and those illusions are driven by the 3 filter. I don't have the whole time to go over there, but the fundamental to understand is that your daily experience is driven by 3 main drivers, and those fundamental drivers, I'm going to quickly go through them. And it's social conformity, self-projection, and resources. And social conformity is basically, you got to think of it as a pressure or the unseen or unspoken rule that are imposed on people by accepted society norms. And as you can imagine, with social media nowadays, or with 24 hours news cycle, conforming is elevated to critical level. And obviously for self-projections, it's about the doubt, the insecurities, and the fear that are inherited through your personalities and your weaknesses. And when you think about resources, very important, especially because they are perception. When you have scarcity perception, will I have enough money? Will I have enough time? Will I have enough energy to survive or satisfy my needs and my wants? So these 3 drivers, they are the basis of the formation of your illusions and filter, particularly when the brain delete, distort, or generalize. So when you have that new understanding, that leads us to the most fundamental the quantum door teaches. That was at the foundation of ancient Egypt, right? It's what I just shared, that humans experience themselves in 5 dimensions. And you know them. It's the depth dimension, the spirit dimension, or the principle dimension, the emotional dimension, the mental dimension, and the physical dimension. right? And the most important thing here is that we are going in and out of this dimension at all times. But what differs our attention, which is a common denominator, right? So now that you understand that, you're asking, so what do I do then? So what do you do instead? Well, it's really that understanding. It's this, basically the founding pillar. It's this paradigm. Is your reality is spirit into form. Your reality is spirit actualized into form. Because looking at the quantum field, it's an energetic field. When you look at it, everything is energy. So what do I mean by that? So you can clearly see that it's a matter of degree, meaning all forms of everything that exists are then just a different manifestation of the energy. Or in a way, you could say that all the different forms, they are a different form of that energy. And the animating energy that carries a breath, the animating energy that carries life's power, is one and only one thing: your spirit. So meaning, your experience is a result and the form of your desires. The visible is a form of invisible, right? So why that matters to you here? Because what appears as a frustration or an emotional outburst when you have mental issue or a setback is a result of an imbalance, reflecting a misalignment from your authentic desires versus the reality you're experiencing. So the outburst, the disruptive moment you experience is a reflection from a tension of a gap between your authentic desires versus the reality you're experiencing. So if spirit is your reality to form, the urge that you have to outburst, right, or to take some drugs is due to a chemical imbalance in the brain in the physical dimension, which is a result of an emotional imbalance in the emotional dimension, which is also an imbalance in the mental dimension due to the illusions that are contrasting to your reality, which in turn is also further a misalignment of your authentic desires in the spirit dimension versus your reality. How is it so? Because the bigger the misalignment and the wider the gap between your authentic desires against your reality, the more you experience emotional pain. And the pain can take many forms of addiction. Obviously, the addiction, sometimes running to the pills, right, is the first one, but it can be addiction to other substances, meaning that the emotional pain will keep increasing if it's not handled with awareness, because pain is reflecting a deep fear that needs to be resolved. And that's a spiritual work where we need to grow and evolve, because fear is protecting that all consciousness level and the old you that is outdated and that need to be outgrown. And so here is where it's, apply spirit out to work, because you got to understand why tension occurs. And tension occurs because you need to understand what tension is. It's basically your illusion from drivers versus your authentic desires. And you are not able to see your true reflection because of illusions that are on your way. Like a dusty mirror, illusions interfere for you to see your true reflection, and that causes misalignment and pain as a result. So spirit reflection are designed to identify the element driver trait which was seeking expression. So in nature, you can look at it as a cosmic order, right? And feminine polarity, which is thought and ignite notion in this plane. So just look at the electrons, for example, meaning the elemental trait seeking expression is always manifested via its absence, right? So that's really the way to look at it. So the goal of the reflection is to discern which negative trait was at play and what it was seeking to experience, what was its initial desire. So to find that out, you must go through identifying the pain, then discerning the fear, then which will lead you to identify the illusions on why you did what you did by looking at the data. As you see the illusion at work, you are able to reconstruct using your attention and see what was your desire. That's a process of evolution, which we don't have too much time here, but that's how you are a co-creator. And then so the question you ask yourself is, why do I have attention? And that's really where the spirit is at work. Because there is an expectation of what you want. Because there is a value, there is an image of what you are supposed to have. And the key secret is this. to realize that your expectation is corresponding to an identity, to an image, and the spirit work is for you to see that all consciousness, to see that image that's driving you. So whether or not if that image, that identity, that values need to be outgrown or not, or if you need to change the procedure and the approach. So the spirit work is really to unfold that initial desire and that all consciousness and go to the source of the consciousness. So to uncover that consciousness level, and then you should ask yourself, you should evolve from that, which means you need to review that image through the three drivers we talk about: social conformity, resources, or self-projections. And then when you see that, if a desire, if expectation is authentic, it means you just need to change your approach, but that will mean still you need to come from an evolved new consciousness level. So as you can see here, when you are able to unfold the consciousness level that is at the cause of tension, you are able to release the tension, which was at the cause of your stress or your outburst, right? And that's what got you in that emotional dilemma, in that disruptive behavior, where everything that becomes symptomatic, right? So if you can handle that at the root cause, you will not need to handle that symptom level, and then you won't have the depression that everyone is facing. Yes, it will take some training and awareness, but then you will be positioned for a lifelong methodology. And then when you see that, that's your practice. And then now you become conditioned to learn how to develop that muscle. And yes, we can talk about more, but mental wellness is important here, and that's why people are missing the mark, because people are not looking at it from a different angle and they have a lack of understanding. And I can talk about this more, but I want to keep this short. So if you want to know more and continue this conversation with me, please sign up to our brand new community. And that new community is Free Souls. Free Souls, and you will see people like you that want to evolve and that are on a journey. And you will get access to more tips and relevant answers to your specific real problems. And the link is in my comment below. And also, if you haven't heard, if you have any issue you want me to talk about directly, you can submit them in the comments below, or you can request specific video topics to logging onto www.thequantumdo.com/video. And so before I leave you today, we really need to look at what the Global Wellness Institute forecast is. Global Wellness forecast that the wellness economy will expand over the next 5 years, growing at an annual rate of 8.6%, which is higher than the projected global GDP growth of 5.1% that the IMF is forecasting. So the market is slated to reach about 6.3 trillion by the end of 2023 and 7.4 in 2025. And it will represent about 5.6% in 2022. So the biggest projected wellness growth leader through 2027 are in order: wellness real estate, wellness tourism second, thermal and mineral spring, and then fourth, mental wellness, only looking at a 12% growth annually. While that seems reasonable, but it's in fourth place. And why is that a problem? And that's why I'm sounding alarm bell. It's because mental wellness is lagging and need to grow faster than the 12.6. Why? Because the next health crisis is mental. 7 in 10 people globally report they are struggling mentally, and stress and worry and sadness report high in 2020. Major depressive disorder, anxiety disorder increased 28% and 26% in 2020. And this is all the World Health Organization. So the current approach and solution are missing out on the biggest opportunity to mental wellness. It is a development, and it is adherence to applied spirit, which help people develop spiritual intelligence. Because when we are faced with mental health issue or taking drugs, for the most part, it is a reflection of chemical balance and balances that has its roots from mental constraint. for the most part, which is coming from an emotional imbalance. So it is all about understanding that there is a misalignment between your authentic desires and your reality that you are experiencing. So people need to understand that your reality is spirit actualized in form. Your reality is spirit actualized into form, which means you need to explore your spiritual growth opportunity. That's why I'm here as an applied spirit coach and performance coach to provide you with these different angles that have been known as ancient wisdom practices, so that you can leverage your spirit to optimize your performance. And when you do that, you adhere to my favorite quote as always: failure is a necessary prerequisite for human excellence. Till next time, live your truth. Coach Soul out.